Star Wars, The Last Jedi. This is what we thought about it.
Then I was awake. And I need help.
Star Wars The Last Jedi, it continues from where the last one left off, where if you haven't seen the last one, I mean, you should probably watch the last one, but it's the same characters from before. We got Rey, Finn, and Luke Skywalker.
Poe Dameron.
Yeah, Poe Dameron, Princess Leia. They're all back for this installment, and each character kind of leaves off pretty much like right where the other one ended. Like a few days, maybe, after a week.
Probably weeks or something.
Yeah.
She was out there training and talking with Luke.
Except for her storyline. Her storyline takes place literally seconds after the other one ended. It starts off with her giving the lightsaber to Luke Skywalker like you see in the last episode. And Finn is still in a coma. And, everybody's just doing their thing. The opening crawl explains that the Empire, or I guess the First Order now, is pursuing the rebels really hard, which is pretty reminiscent of Empire Strikes Back, which is kind of the equivalent to this movie.
Yeah.
But First Order is going after the rebels, and they're trying to get away. That's pretty much it.
From the opening scene, it starts off pretty exciting.
Starts off like Star Wars.
Yeah. Starts off, I'm trying to think of how to say it without spoiling it.
Starts off with action, some space battles. And the space battles in this movie look really, really good. Like the spectacle.
CGI and everything looks great.
Looks awesome.
I guess not being a huge Star Wars fan myself, like I've watched all the movies, but I don't go as crazy over it as this one. Yeah. But it was exciting. Throughout there was a lot of action, of course, and I mean there was a few scenes where I kind of paused and was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's two different. That's why I'm curious to learn what you think about it, because we kind of come from like two different perspectives. I really like the Star Wars trilogy. I don't want to say trilogies, but I do like 4, 5, 6 a lot. I didn't really grow up with them like a lot of people did. I watched them when I was younger, but I didn't really appreciate them until I was a little older. But as of late, I've been a huge fan of them. But you haven't really been. Just the latest one.
Yeah, I've been more excited about the new ones because I've seen all the older ones, and I don't know. It just never really hooked me like it did a lot of other people. But this one, I mean, it's good just to see like I said, the CGI, the special effects, and they really take advantage, of being up on the big screen.
This movie definitely takes some turns in ways that the other Star Wars movies hadn't, and I think wouldn't, if it wasn't directed by Rian Johnson, who has never directed a Star Wars film yet, but he's sliding in to direct this one in place of J.J. Abrams. But J.J. will direct the next one, so I say good luck to J.J. Abrams.
Yeah. Well, they have that whole storyline with Finn and Rose's storyline. I know a lot of people were complaining about it. I didn't really mind it. Something different, kind of change up the pace and whatnot, and it was still pretty entertaining.
It's hard to say what I truly think about it without getting into spoilers, which is why we're going to do a spoiler section in a minute. So I think for now we'll just leave it at that. Our overall thoughts was I really liked it. I had some problems with it, but overall a good, solid Star Wars movie.
Yeah. I think as far as Rey's performance,
Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, Daisy Ridley's performance, she did great again.
Yeah. All the actors across.
Poe Dameron, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always great.
Yeah.
And
great, so likable.
Yeah.
John Boyega, kind of wasted in this movie, I'd say. Yeah, but his performance still good.
Yeah.
And Mark Hamill did amazing as reprising his role as Luke Skywalker, and Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, did awesome in her final Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
What would you rate The Last Jedi?
I would rate it 4 out of 6. It's worth $10, or it's worth your $10 at the movie theater.
Yeah, I think I'm a little higher, but I think I can't get it to that next. So if we had like a 4.5, which we don't, then it would probably be that. But I would say yes, it is worth your $10. You should still go see it, Star Wars fan or not. I think it'll be worth your time. But now we're going to get into some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, go watch it, and then come back and continue the rest of this video. But for the rest of you, bye-bye.
Alright, I have to say, I was totally on board when I seen there's the big first sequence where that
they're taking out the dreadnought.
Yeah. Rose's sister, we end up finding out later that she's her sister, but Rose's sister sacrifices herself, bombs the First Order, and it's really intense. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be really good. Okay, I'm into it, and it kind of kept that pace for me. I was really excited. It right up until the point where the First Order attacks.
And Kylo Ren,
he hesitates. He doesn't blow it. He doesn't press the button. He doesn't blow up.
Because he senses his mother on the ship. She senses him too.
Yeah, and he doesn't do it. But then, of course, his boys blow up the ship, blow up the cabin. Everybody gets sucked out, and I was like, oh no, are they gonna kill,
Princess Leia?
Yeah, or
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, Carrie Fisher. When she's dead in real life, I was like, oh, they're gonna have the balls to do that? I was like, wow. I was shocked, in a good way. And then I seen her go like this and float back towards the ship, and I was like, I even leaned over and wished. I was like, it was great up until that point.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what?
I think this is where we're going to disagree, just because I didn't mind that at all. I always thought that the Force user should be able to kind of move themselves with the Force, and we know from the other film, not The Last Jedi, but Return of the Jedi, that she has the Force in her. She's a Skywalker. So I thought it made sense for her to use the Force in that way, but I do see how some people can see it as like a cheesy way to not kill her.
On two different levels, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but, so I don't know all the lore and all that as far as could she do or not, but it just looked really cheesy. Because she was sort of frozen and she just started gliding, and I was like, what is she? She's dead. The whole thing blew up. How is she not dead?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no.
But that whole sequence I really enjoyed, except for when they started getting away from the First Order. That to me, I kind of took a step back and was like, oh, okay. Because they introduce
slowest car chase.
Yeah, they introduce fuel in this movie, which is interesting. No previous Star Wars movie has mentioned fuel, so I didn't know the ships ran off fuel.
But everybody, no, they all just run off Carrie Fisher going like this.
That's not what happened.
Just leaning forward.
No, but all the ships have just been going. Even the Millennium Falcon in the last movie has been sitting in a junkyard for 10 years, and they get in it, and then it just goes and can go into light speed. But now, their ships need fuel. And these guys, the rebels, are running out of fuel. But if they go into light, so the First Order can track them through light speed now.
Yeah.
And so, new technology that's crazy. They can track them through light speed. And so, if we jump to light speed again, they're just going to find us. And then we'll be out of fuel. But we could stay at a safe distance to where they can't blow us up, but they can just be there for a long period of time. And it's kind of the First Order just waiting for them.
Just watching them, just cruising behind.
They constantly shoot at them, but they have their shields up, so it's just kind of... And then that's when it introduces the storyline that a lot of people have problems with, myself included.
Finn and Rose. From their crafty adventures.
Yeah, Finn tries to escape. He tries to leave because he's going to go find Rey and warn her, don't go back to the rebels, they're all going to die.
And that was awesome. She was like, oh my gosh, you're one of the heroes.
He goes, may the Force be with you.
And he was like, yeah. And then she found, wait a minute.
Yeah, are you going to jump ship? And she shocks him, paralyzes him.
But, I mean, okay, it was, for me, not a terrible storyline. I had a lot of fun with it, especially once Benicio del Toro came in
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have a problem with his accents that he does, because sometimes
It's kind of weird.
he has a very unique, I don't know,
Presence.
presence. And but I like him. And the only thing I really didn't like was at the end of that arc, I guess they fall in love.
Yeah,
Because
that's
she
for
kisses him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was like, I would believe Poe Dameron and Finn hooking up before I would believe him
Yeah.
and Rose having any chemistry, because it didn't seem like that at all.
No, it's a very awkward scene.
Yeah. And
But yeah,
they kissed, and it was just like
yeah. I'll touch more on that later, but yeah, I didn't like that either. But yeah, the whole Cantobite planet, I didn't really enjoy it. It kind of felt like Earth. It almost felt like Las Vegas, and I was just like, this isn't very interesting. And then, you know, they get trapped, locked up, and then they're like, oh, we don't need your help, Benicio del Toro. And he's like, well, okay, then I'll just go and open this door. And they're like, oh, dude, he can open stuff. And then they get off the planet, and they go on this huge adventure, because what they need to do is they need to jump on board the enemy's ship, the First Order, and they need to go and disable their tracker so that the rebels can go into light speed and get away. But they don't do that. They get on there, and they get caught, and Benicio del Toro's character betrays them and is like, oh, well, I hooked a deal up with Phasma there.
Well, why would they trust some guy they just met in a jail cell?
Yeah.
I mean,
but
them.
So he cuts a deal with like Captain Phasma in the First Order, and they said they'll give him some coins, and he'll betray his friends, and he does.
Yeah. It was cool seeing, I don't know, on that the Cantobite world, I guess.
Yeah.
The little animals they had racing.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. And then they did a good thing. You know, they released them.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and they introduce a little boy that'll probably not be important at all, because I mean,
but it was good to show how far-reaching the Resistance was. You know, 'cause they kind of knew about it, and they're like, oh man, these people are from the Resistance. Like,
yeah,
the little kids were
cool.
impressed.
So they're famous.
Because I mean, without that, you'd only have Rey training on the island, or the world's slowest spaceship chase.
So let's jump into that. So there's Rey training on the island, very Dagobah system, like from Empire Strikes Back. Luke Skywalker goes to the Dagobah system and he trains with Yoda, and it's very similar to that, kind of, except for this time Luke Skywalker, he doesn't really care about the Force anymore. He doesn't want to be a Jedi, which, you know, okay, if that's the director's choice, it's fine. Yeah. But she gives him the lightsaber. A lot of people have problems with this too. I did too, because it's just kind of like, just felt like it was done for laughs. Yeah. But she gives him the lightsaber that was his father's. It was Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, then, you know, Darth Vader's, and then it was his, and he lost it in Cloud City. And then he goes, nope.
Fuck it.
He goes, nope, I don't want this. And he chucks it over his shoulder off a cliff. And she's like, Skywalker?
What were those little things called on the island?
Porgs.
Oh, porgs. They were the real stars this year.
I really liked porgs. I was worried, you know, seeing the trailer and seeing them in the trailer, and there was already merchandise everywhere. I have a friend who already bought a pop figure before the movie came out, and I was like, these better not be annoying. And
like
they weren't.
Ewoks.
Yeah.
Just put them
like
everywhere,
Ewoks.
man.
Yeah, it wasn't an Ewok situation. They were pretty cool. But yeah, Luke Skywalker and Rey training I liked that a lot.
Like when he's like, you went straight to the dark side.
Yeah,
you didn't hesitate.
She feels the Force, and she sees all this stuff. She's like, I see life and death, and I see a black hole. And he's like, oh yeah, well, don't go near that. And she's like, it's calling to me. He's like, Rey, resist it. And she just like jumps in.
Yeah, immediately.
And it's just like...
But the only part about that I didn't like was later, it's like, well, when does that come into play? Like, if naturally she's going straight to the dark side and she feels like that,
she never does. She stays good the entire time.
After that point, she's strictly good for the rest of the movie. So it was like...
Yeah, she does stay consistently good, which, again, director's choice. I don't really like the direction Rian Johnson took this movie, even though I liked it as a whole, but he kind of... I don't like killing off Luke Skywalker, by the way, I'll say that now. Like, I mean, maybe if they would have did it in a more satisfying way, but he kind of just... Bye.
I feel like it's a missed opportunity. Like, they could have had Kylo Ren kill him also, and then that's why
Obi-Wan Kenobi moment.
Yeah, he keeps talking about killing the past, and he already killed Han Solo, and then now if he kills Luke Skywalker, and then I mean he's just continuing on the same path.
Snoke.
Yeah, Snoke.
Again, a lot of people have problems with that.
So he's all about killing all the characters that were legends of the past.
Yeah.
And Luke Skywalker, he still dies, but he just does it in his own way, and they want to like feel good about it. But it was just like, it was a weird.
It's almost like
he concentrated too hard and died.
It's almost like Princess Leia didn't really care either. She was just like, well, Rey was like, oh, I felt it. He's gone. And she's like, yeah, you're right. He's gone.
Like maybe at this point she's so tired of this shit. She's just like, you know what? Fuck it.
Another really cool scene, we got Yoda and Luke Skywalker reunion. I think that was probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, just to see puppet Yoda. I was really glad to see that it was puppet Yoda and not CGI weird Yoda from the prequels. But seeing him back, talk to Luke Skywalker.
It seemed like everybody was really excited about the puppet Yoda. And I was like, at first in the movie I was like, they couldn't get better special effects.
Oh man, no, I love puppet Yoda. Yeah.
But then soon after it was, I don't know, maybe it's a Star Wars fan thing.
Yeah. Well, if you see him in the prequels, he just looks weird. He just because they completely CGI him in, and since the first time you see him is in Empire, and he's a puppet, so you're like, oh, this is how Yoda's supposed to look. And he looks weird and CGI and twitchy. Yeah. And you're like, ew. So now he's back to like being him and his original personality too. And
so the scene you like?
That's the scene I like with him. He just gets to talk to him. He calls him young Skywalker. I thought that was really nice. He also uses lightning as a Force ghost, which is interesting. Another power I didn't know was able to happen in Star Wars.
Johnson was just like, they could do this, right? Fuck it.
I mean, might as well. He can use the Force to.
I don't have to direct the next one.
Good luck, J.J. Abrams.
He'll fix it.
Yeah. But he burns all the ancient Jedi books. And, that's kind of getting rid of the Jedi religion. Which doesn't happen because Rey does steal the books and she has them in the ship at the end.
She's not going to read them.
Yeah. But I think my favorite scene by far was the Kylo Ren and Rey fight. In the Red Room with the Praetorian Guards.
It was totally the best scene of the entire movie. Yeah. The whole time you're like, oh, he's about to fuck up Snoke.
Oh, yeah.
But then the whole thing for me, I thought, and this is just me, I thought they were going to switch sides. I thought he was going to, think about his mother and, especially after killing Snoke and, totally have this total epiphany and she's going to, like it foreshadowed earlier, jump straight to the dark side and, be, have this balance that they just switch, which would have been cool, but they didn't.
They stayed their side.
Yeah, and it was a really cool fight scene when they fought together for that very brief moment. That was great. Yeah. It was just like the whole time was just yes.
You have to wonder how Snoke, didn't realize that the lightsaber next to him is gonna kill him.
It's turning towards him. Yeah. And it's like, and if he has so much control over them and their minds that he can make them connect, throughout the galaxy.
Which I don't know if he really did that. He says he takes credit for that. He was like, I was the one who bridged your minds. And when they first start doing it, they both are confused. How are you doing this? How are you doing this? But even after he's dead, they see each other when they're not near each other. She goes to leave on the ship and she looks down and sees him.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, he had the perception at least to even know about it.
Yeah, well, he's one of the most powerful Force users.
And he can't fucking realize a little lightsaber just turning towards him right fucking there.
I guess their excuse they're going to have is, because he said, I see you turning the lightsaber. It's because he's turning this one while he's turning the other one.
What kind of shitty foresight does he have? Like, I see you killing somebody, and it's like you can't see that it's you.
Yeah, he can only see he's gonna kill somebody, and he's turning a lightsaber. Yeah. Two bulbs going off in his head.
Is it in text?
Turning the lightsaber, and he's like,
I know what you're gonna do.
But yeah, he kills Snoke, cuts him right in half. Lightsaber comes flying over. Rey catches it. And they get up and just fuck up the Praetorian Guards.
That was
sort of. Yeah. I was like, they kind of get bested a little bit, but these guards are great. They're the greatest fighters in the galaxy almost.
What the fuck are they?
they're just like people hired off of one of the ships, and they got weapons, and they're the greatest
like,
fighters.
we're gonna put you in these nice uniforms. You're really good at shit. I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah. The only 2 Force users left in the galaxy, and they almost beat him. But now they beat him, and that was a really cool scene. And then you find out that Rey's parents are nothing, nobody.
Yeah.
So the build-up from the last movie,
kind of a letdown.
Ryan Johnson saw the build-up and said, well, let's go ahead and pretend that didn't happen. Her parents aren't anything, so you don't have to worry.
It'd be interesting to see if J.J. Abrams goes back in third one and goes, actually, they were somebody, but she didn't know they were important people. Yeah. But they were.
Alright, so those are our spoilers for the movie. Overall, thought it was really good. But just, not really fully Star Wars for me.
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.